And we are going to now touch the subject which everybody but one in here is concerned about. And I'm sure that one person has occasional problems with busyness. But yeah, okay, so what we're going to do first, because so many of you, 99% of you, said it was a problem, we're going to ask God to make a difference. So we're going to start by praying. And what I want you to do is to pray with your spouse. Just for a minute, just pray that God really speaks to your hearts as individuals and as a couple. And because you need to change. If you want to do the things we talked about yesterday, have time for God, more time for God, more time for your spouse, more time for your family, something else has to change, or you won't have more time. And if you want to change, that's really difficult. Any like a New Year's resolution, isn't it? You can't do it on your own until the 5th of January. After that, it's gone. The Holy Spirit can make a difference. So what we want you to do is just pray with your spouse, ask the Holy Spirit to open your heart and tell you what you need to do as we talk. And some of these things will be applicable to you, some may not be, but listen to the things that the Holy Spirit says to you today. Okay, so just 1 minute then to just pray with your spouse and then we'll carry on.
We hear in Ecclesiastes that there is a time for everything. We're going to read the scripture and hopefully we'll have some pictures to accompany it. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love. And back to this Slido again. Get your phones out. This time you need the event code U479. Is that correct, Mike? Is that what it says on your thing this time?
Yep.
We are making sure that you get the right thing. And there are 3 questions that are going to be there. Do you want me to put them up first?
Yes. Absolutely.
The first one is, do you feel you have time to do the things you considered important to you? Do you think that your spouse is too busy? Perhaps Boy might think that, if he doesn't. And does busyness adversely affect your relationship and time with Jesus? Right, are you going to press the magic button?
No. Okay, let's have the vote. No, you'll get the question. The question comes in up there.
So U479 was the code number as well. I can't quite see that one thing.
So 479, now we're up to
Yeah.
votes.
U for uniform 479.
We're getting voting in. That's good. 28. 37. Whoa, there's a lot more to come yet. We had 60 yesterday. Only 37 so far. 40. I don't think it's going to change much though. The general impression is no, but half of you usually, or yes.
What's the percentage on no's? We can't see it on here.
It's about 50. 40.
Can you see it on your phones then, what the answer is? Okay.
Okay, so anyway, I think we'll stop that one. It's quite clear. About half of you, just under half of you, have a problem. I think there are things that you don't get done. The other half of you usually can or you can, which is good. So we will move to the next question. Do you think your spouse is too busy? Yesterday it was yourself, now it's your spouse. So more of you think your spouse is busy than think yourself is busy. That's the truth. That's a strange thing, isn't it? Right, we're going to go to the next one. Does your busyness affect your relationship with Jesus? Adversely affect your relationship with Jesus? Well, I have to say, 90% of you think that busyness affects your time with Jesus. That means that we should probably think about our time. I think 90% of us don't have time for Jesus, don't have sufficient time for Jesus, at least sometimes. So, we're going to stop it there. Quick recap on what we were saying yesterday. So what is busyness? I think a couple of you might not have been here. We're just going to say, well, engaged in much activity. No surprise there. Continually occupied. I like this one, the foolishly or intrusively active. So that does sound like it's too much, and therefore we don't have time for Jesus. Quote from yesterday we used, Carl by refusing to address the important questions and instead living a double-minded and busy life, one can become afraid to commit to a single person or cause, and so it can lead to missing out on one's calling or one's marriage. Important subjects. And there's a new quote we're going to give you now. This is from a couple called Les and Leslie Parrott, and they've written a book which is called Your Time-Starved Marriage, which is a fantastic book. Unfortunately, we can't get hold of it because it's in the States, but you can download it on a Kindle. So if you have a Kindle, it's got a... But if you try and order it, it's about $20 and about $50 postage. So I suggest the Kindle is the best way. Anyway, great book, and the quote here, busyness is the arch enemy of every relationship and leads to a time-starved marriage. Okay.
So, let's look at busyness in our marriage. Lots of couples spend time on things which are out there, and then what's left of the time, spend on themselves. We kid ourselves that tomorrow will be less busy, or next week, or next year. We're always having that manana attitude that it's going to be okay. People spend their lives preparing to live, working harder so they can get more money, or because they want to do something first. You're going to share about your dad, Mike?
Yeah, my father was a great, lovely person, fantastic father, and also a pastor, and looked after about 60 churches, which he grew from originally from about 35. And was great. Everyone would say, oh, he gives us so much time, he's always with us and ministers to us. The problem is, if you're the children of this person, it wasn't quite the same. Because every time the phone rang, my father was gone. We used to sit down on a Sunday afternoon and play board games. But I always used to dread the phone going. Because if the phone going, my father would always go to the phone, and that may mean he had to leave, it may mean he was on half an hour on the phone, and we lost the time with him. So sometimes we can be like that. We've got time for everybody. And if somebody says, I need to talk to you, we'll go and do it. But sometimes that takes away from the time that we've planned with our spouse or our children. We need to think carefully about taking time from our spouse and our children, even doing good things.
So just for a very quick moment, think, is this you? Is this something I do? Is this something we need to address? I'm not looking at anyone. Also, when we're young, and there are some very younger people here, I'm looking at Tim at the back, and Leila, particularly young, who's only nearly 2, you have no idea of the concept of time moving on, and you think there's lots and lots of time left. And we trust there is lots and lots of time left. But obviously, as life moves on, we do get older, and eventually we leave this earth. I got to about 45, and I all of a sudden realised that the skin on my hands did not look like what it did when Vanessa in her 20s. It did used to look like that, but it doesn't anymore. And you realise the passage of time is going, and life is moving on, and probably some of you are in that position too. When we're in our 20s and 30s, we think that life will go on and on forever, so it feels like. But it's amazing, inside, I'm now 60, you still feel the same, but life has moved on, and you realise that life is passing on, and you can't get that time back again. It's gone. And so we need and then of course when we get to our 40s, we start thinking about retirement, we start thinking about the children leaving home, money worries perhaps getting easier than they were. But things do move on, don't they? When our children were toddlers, I had a friend and I used to see her regularly, and one day her husband's, a relative of her husband, we'll leave it at that, it's confusing. At 41, he just had a massive heart attack and died. And this really shocked this couple. He hadn't had any warning, he had 2 small children and a wife, and he was just gone. Just there one day and gone the next. I'm not implying that should happen for us, but what I am saying is we need to make the most of what we should making the most of the time that we have. Get our priorities straight. Is it more important to have more time or more money or do all those things that we want to do? Tomorrow never comes if we're not careful. We need to be careful about that. And back to those scales again. We talked yesterday about the balance between time and money. But what happens is that the time, hopefully, the money comes in, and so does the time, and then they both go. We can make more money, but the time that we have, once it's gone, like our 30s, those of us who are older than our 30s, we cannot get our 30s back again. They are gone, and that is the end of it. We can always make more money, we can't make ourselves younger, can we? So we need to remember those things. And then there was to remembering, do we work to live or live to work? What is more important? Spending time with our family or getting more money? If we do get the money, what are we doing? Thinking about that man in the Bible who had all that money stashed away in his barns, but then he died and he couldn't spend it. That was another thing that happened with Mike's parents as well. With the cruise, Mike?
Well, same thing. My father always wanting to give and always wanting to do things for other people. But even though he was fairly poor as a Baptist minister, he used to be able to, we found out later, save some money up so that they could do something later. And his intent was to go on a cruise with my mother when he was 70.
No, on her 70th.
On her 70th birthday, sorry. And unfortunately, he died at the age of 70, and she was still 68, and they never managed to do that. It was put off and put off and put off until things weren't so busy, and there weren't so many people needing his attention, and that time never changed. And again, we then see how much money he saved up, which is incredible considering he had such a small salary. And my mother is now very happy that she can go on cruises, and she gets to go with friends. Which for us as children and for her as a mother is very sad because we'd love to have done that with our father. Yeah. So don't put off to tomorrow all the time. The things plan today as well as plan tomorrow and get our priorities straight.
Yeah, she was actually quite angry when she found out that they could have done these things and yet they'd missed out doing it together because he'd always thought tomorrow would come, and it doesn't always come for everybody, does it? So we're going to have another interactive now for you just to talk to, not a Slido. So do we work to live or live to work? And are you happy about that? And another question, would we prefer to have a few extra £100 or an extra day at home with my spouse and family? And is it possible to trade this, to swap it somehow?
Okay, we can carry on talking about that later if you are still interested in that. Move on to the next subject. So, build our relationship now. That's what we're saying. Leaving it to tomorrow. The other problem with leaving it to tomorrow, firstly, tomorrow may never come because we keep saying tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. The other thing, if we say tomorrow, and tomorrow is tomorrow, and tomorrow and a month, and a year go by, actually the other problem is our relationship has changed. If we haven't spent time nourishing and building our relationship, it's no longer the same. It starts to cool off. It starts to change its nature. So if we do come back and we're going to spend quality time in 5 years' time when the children are a bit older and so on, you might not know the person so well. You've lost that closeness that you had because you've not nourished. We need to eat every day to feed our bodies. We also need to nourish our relationship with our spouse and with Jesus if we want to stay close to these people and our children. It's often said that the saddest word is someday. What does someday mean? Someday means someday, in the future. And someday can turn into if only. Because we look back on someday and someday's past. Our relationships change, our relationships are no longer what it was. Because we said someday, and now we say, if only I'd done something now. If only I'd done something when I was 20 to build my relationship. If only I'd spent some quality time with my children and my family when I was 30. If only is a very sad word. And some people say, well, we don't have enough time now. If we look at I think 90% of us said, we could do more time with Jesus and build our relationship. We don't have time, we're too busy. Well, I'll tell you some people who have the same time as you do.
Indeed.
Leonardo da Vinci, Billy Graham, Albert Einstein, William Shakespeare, Bill Gates, Mother Teresa. Do you know all these people had the same number of minutes in every day, the same number of days in every year, and however long the Lord gave them to live. They have the same minutes that we have. We have the time, it's how we choose to spend the time that we want to look back on and say, yes, we spent it well. Yes, we built our relationship. Yes, we got to know God better. Yes, we got to know our spouse. Yes, we got to know our children. We're going to love them for the rest of our lives. And yes, we did what God called us to do. That's what we want to look back and say. And the first step to reclaiming our time is to realise that our life is happening now. Think about it. Today, this weekend, this coming week. Don't fritter away your time. Don't do the things that you'll look back on and say, well, why did I do all that when I could have spent quality time doing this? We need to say, now is the time. Now today, now this weekend, now this week, and now this time. There's two erroneous beliefs. I can translate. Is that easy for translation, erroneous?
Two things
Two
may be
different.
true.
They're not really true. Time can be stopped. Can we stop time? Actually, we can't freeze frame time. It's fluid. It goes on second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour. You can't stop time. And over that time, our feelings change. And we want our feelings to change together so we understand each other. And the other erroneous belief is that time can be saved up. We can save up time. Well, we work hard now and we save up the time for our date night or our holiday or whatever it is to enjoy time together. We save that up for later. We can't save it up. The time goes on and things change. We talk about nourishing our body. Remember, our relationship is what are we together? We often say, the two become one. Two become one flesh. If we're one flesh, do we need to nourish the one flesh? Spiritually and relationship-wise, emotionally and physically. We need to nourish our relationship. How much time do we choose to spend together? And how we choose to spend it says a lot about us. How we prioritise our time says, well, what's important to us? So if we don't give our children any time, what's that saying to our children? We don't care, really. I've got more important things to do. I've got work to do. I've got people to look after. I haven't got time for you. You're my children. I'll give you some toys. I'll give you some presents. So many people do that. They don't enjoy their children and don't feed their children in their relationship. We need to show we care. We have our daughter lives in Leeds. We go and see now once a month, which is great because they've got a new baby, a new grandson, which is a real joy to us. So we go up 2 or 3 days a month to Leeds. But they're people that I almost wish I was like them when I was younger, because I have the regret of not seeing my children grow up because I was always away. They got their life in order. they decided what they wanted to do so that they could spend time with each other and time with their child. So they won't take more money. He's an IT expert, and you can earn lots and lots of money, and he's been offered lots and lots of money to go and do jobs. But jobs that would take 60, 70 hours a week. He's chosen a job in a university which has a limited time. He works from 7 hours a day. He can take time and work at home. And our daughter's the same. She's chosen a job and specified, said, yes, I'll do this job, but I want to work from home. So I've got a grandson. I've got a son. And they ordered their life so that they look after their child and still do their jobs. Now, yes, they get less money than they would if they really wanted to earn money, but they've got a great balance. They're not sure. Because actually, their goal isn't more and more money. Their goal is, we want to spend time with our spouse and our children. We want to spend time, good quality time. This is much more important, and we'll earn enough that we can live on. So their goal is earn enough so they can enjoy life. And that's a great goal. So many of us miss that, and I have to admit, missing that when I was younger. Talking, I don't mean saying we've got to pick the children up at 5 o'clock and we've got to have tea. Talking, really communicating with each other each day. Do you think 1 hour? Anyone think it's an hour? Anyone put your hand up and think it's an hour?
Steve said 15 minutes, Steve said.
15, okay. Who thinks it's 30 minutes? 30 minutes or more? 15 minutes or more? We're getting there. 10 minutes or more? 5 minutes or more? Less than 5 minutes? 3 minutes a day. 3 minutes a day. That's about 20 minutes a week. I'm sure none of you are in that category. The average Briton surveyed 3 minutes a day of quality time of talking. Amazing. Life moves fast. We don't stop to enjoy it. It's only going to get faster. We think life's going to slow down or be easier tomorrow. Actually, it's a bit of a joke on this. We were talking last week, and we were obviously up to our neck in preparing for the conference and all the details and everything else. And I made a stupid comment, giving in fact just doing this talk. I said, won't it be good next week? We can catch up with everything and do that. Then we came back and smiled at each other and said, that's it, that's what we must do. Always tomorrow. It's always going to be less busy tomorrow. And life is fast. Life moves on quickly. Enjoy the time. Make sure you get priorities right and spend good time.
So what is the effect of this busyness on our relationship? Mike talked yesterday about people considering busyness as being a badge of honour, something important, something good. But is it? Gandhi said there is more to life than increasing its speed. If we're really busy, we tend to just give the scraps to the people who are important. Like Mike was talking about his dad, who prioritised other people in his church rather than the people who said, no, it's okay. I don't trust you. It's been said, in order to reduce busyness, you need to ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Hurry means that you never enjoy the moment.
Oh, it's gone.
I know it's meant to. You're too busy to enjoy and make effective what's going on now. It will come back. There's a French proverb that says, haste manages all things badly. And back to that man again, most men pursue pleasure with such breathless haste that they hurry past it.
I think some women do as well.
Yeah, well, people then. And if we look at Proverbs 28:22, selfish people are in a hurry to get rich and do not realise they will soon be poor. There's a well-known British phrase which says, more haste, less speed. And often we do that, don't we? We think we can do things quicker and then we make a mess of it because we don't. So our busyness is due to lack of time and hurry and ability to prioritise our time properly. And And that can affect 4 areas of our lives. Our conversations, that 3 minutes that we heard about, our love life as well, and our ability to have fun. We always think, when we've done all these things, we'll go out and have fun. Mike and I have been promising ourselves to go and see 4 films. I think they're going to be obsolete by the time we get there. The first one that came out was the Star Wars one at Christmas. We still haven't seen that one, and there's 3 more. But we still got...
Churchill. I want to see Churchill.
We want to, yes. The latest out, something like that. And our spirituality can also suffer because we think, well, we've done this or that, we've got time for these things, and we haven't. We need to put them in place first. Here's another interactive for you. Discuss ways in which busyness affects your relationship, and which area of your lives together is being affected most by busyness.
Okay, carry on then. We're going to get some practical things now. Talking a bit of theory. I think hopefully got you all concerned and churned up and thinking about your time and perhaps not using it in the best way you can. It certainly helped us as we've been thinking about it over the last few months and tried to understand. Well, what the next part though is what wastes our time. We've entitled it Time Wasters. This is where we waste our time. And the first thing I've got down here is unfinished business. And this things that worry us at night, because we haven't finished, we sort of left it, and we just keep leaving it. And this is as much to do with things like regret and unforgiveness. The diagram here shows 2 people sitting the opposite way. They can't talk to each other, they're not mated up. One of the worst things we can do is to leave and sleep at night with things still on our hearts and still on our minds. We don't sleep, we wake up in the morning, we're not right, and our time sort of slips away because we're regretting what we've done and we're still not happy with each other, we're losing the time, we're losing the 3 minutes we had a day to converse. Matthew 6:27 says, can all your worries add a single moment to your life? Can all your worries add a single? No, but what they can do is take away moments. Because instead of spending that quality time together, we're shouting at each other, arguing with each other, in different rooms because we're not happy with each other, or with somebody else. It doesn't have to be with each other. It can be with our children, it can be with our friends, it can be with other people in the church. We learn all the way through. And in every marriage course that I think exists, and certainly in our 2-to-1 marriage course, forgiveness is one of the absolute key topics. If we want a relationship here, or here, we need to be forgiving. Jesus says he'll forgive us as we forgive others. What are you going to say?
I was just going to repeat the scripture because some people didn't catch what you said. Matthew 6:27.
Matthew 6:14-15 says, in the Message version, slightly different version here, in prayer there is a connection between what God does and what you do. You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without forgiving others. If you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part. God says that he can forgive us as we forgive because we want an open and clean heart. And we need to forgive each other. And be the first to forgive. So often it's like, you've got to forgive first. You're the one that did it. No, let's be open with each other. Be the first to forgive. And then the other would normally say, oh yeah, well I'm sorry as well. And it doesn't matter who forgives first, does it really? All we want is a good relationship. Next time waster, technology. Now you've seen even doing these talks, technology can be a big problem. We spend a lot of time preparing the technology for this, or probably more time than we spent preparing the talk. Because these days technology is a big issue. And most of you probably all got your phones or your computers, social media, messaging apps, email, internet browsing, all these things. Do you know, alright, let me do another little test here. What the average time that an internet user uses their various devices and social media each day? What do you think? So half an hour or less? Up to an hour and a half? Up to 2 hours? Actually, you're right. It is 2 hours. 2 looking at YouTube, and WhatsApp, yeah? Well, WhatsApp is messaging, so it may not be sort of quite so bad. You are talking to somebody, but yeah, WhatsApp. But yeah, looking at YouTube, see, I'm more talking now. It's an admission, isn't it? This is one of the biggest time wasters we have. And people stay on Facebook for an hour or 2 hours just sort of looking at other people's lives. Not living their own life, they're looking at everybody else's life. Well, they look at YouTube and all the funny videos. Well, fine, but what about spending some time together? Maybe watching something together, but 2 hours a day. First one is YouTube, 40 minutes. 35 minutes Facebook. 25 minutes Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat, but I think it's more American. Does anyone use Snapchat? Okay. Yeah, a few guys, the younger one, isn't it? It's a young one. We use Facebook, we use Snapchat. and Instagram. So, what worried me most of all, looking through these surveys, it's funny when you can find a survey. Surveys for everything. 15% of millennials. 15% of millennials. That's under 30s, isn't it? I think it's under 30s.
Under 35.
Under 35. Look at their social media or their phones during sex. Would you believe that? 15%. I don't know if we're going to millennials here. Nobody's going to admit what they're doing. Can I mention that? I just can't get there. 15%. What they need to do is come on our intimacy course to learn what it's all about. But also, we know we've got friends who sit on the sofa together. One's got a phone here, one's got, and they're talking to each other on the phone, on WhatsApp or on Facebook, and they're talking to each other, and they're right next to each other.
And what about TV then? TV in itself, there is nothing wrong in TV. If we watch what we want to see, and the stuff that we see is good, then there's nothing wrong with relaxing, watching a nice film, a documentary, or whatever you want to see. I don't know if it's a man thing, but some people like to channel hop and check around what's on this channel, that channel, and I think, where are you going with this? And how much time do you spend? And I focus on that, and it's moved to this, so it goes on.
It's not me, man. I have lots and lots of problems, and that's not one of them.
A friend of ours, a male friend of ours, his wife needs more sleep with him, so he often stays up later than her. But what he has found is that later at night, there are things on television which are not so helpful often. And so he has made a promise to himself and to her that he will not watch any television after she has gone to bed. So he'll do other things instead. But that way, he has kept himself from being seduced by the television as to what it might find that he shouldn't see there. So we need to make sure that the television, or other things like that, don't take over our lives. We can fritter away time so easily on this and all the things we've mentioned already. Another thing I find is there are games on the computer. I mean, I actually play children's games, popping bubbles and such like, you know, and I loved it. I think, one more round, I can do one more round. And then you think, one more round. What I've actually had to do is say, I will play this game for this amount of time, and then the end of the round I'm on, that's it. And if I don't know if this is you that said, oh, one more this or one more that. We need to be strict with ourselves if we know this is something that we keep doing longer and longer, which we shouldn't do. Another thing that we can have problems with is overactivity, depending on what the activity is. I remember a young man at our church saying that they get ready to go somewhere, and then he's ready 3 minutes early. So you think, oh, I'll do that job before I go. And then the next thing you know, you're 2 minutes late, or more late. I don't know if anybody else could admit to that one too. I'm pretty good at that one, unfortunately. But actually, if you say, okay, I'm ready early, then let's go early. That's quite radical, isn't it? And And then we can enjoy whatever it is, and we get there feeling, yeah, this is okay, not on the back foot all the time. Sometimes we push more things upon ourselves. When I was in my 30s, I think, I liked doing all sorts of craft type things. I used to make all my own Christmas cards, and each one was different. And I coloured them all in, and I did calligraphy on them, and they took a long time. And I did this for perhaps 5 or 6 years. And everyone said they liked them, which is good. And I thought, no one's actually expecting this other than me. I am the one jumping through this hoop myself. And so I decided I would stop doing it. 2 people said they missed them. That's fine, they can cope. but actually, it was me doing that. Do we actually demand things of ourselves? We want to have a certain thing done, or we make something extra to do that we shouldn't do? That's a possibility, isn't it? And agreeing to do too much and not understanding when to say no. Who is a person who struggles to say no? This can cause us to hurry and to do things less well and not make the most of the things we have got. Who makes us busy? Is it us or is it somebody else? Who takes away the time we have with each other or with God? Who agrees to do the many things that we do? Generally, it's us, isn't it? And if we're busy, it's because we've made certain choices to do so. We need to look at those choices. Give ourselves the time to do things which are the most important for us to do.
So we're going to turn to the Word of God and see what the Bible says about busyness. And we love the word breathe. Breathe. It sort of feels like Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." That feels like breathing, doesn't it? It feels like, rest. God, my Maker, God knows I need time with Him. God wants time with us. Let's spend some time at the feet of Jesus. Psalm 39:6 says, "We are merely moving shadows of all our busy rushing ends in nothing. We heap up wealth, not knowing who will spend it." Matthew 11:27, "Come to me, all you are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Sometimes you feel weary and burdened and heavy laden. As Lynn said, it's probably because you've chosen to do lots of activities and probably more than you should do. We need to choose, we need to prioritise, and talk about that a little bit later. But we need rest. God made us to rest. God made us to rest on a Sunday. How many of us rest on a Sunday? And if we can't get rest on one day, at least we could do it on another. But do we? Do we have a day where we just spend in God's presence, in each other's presence, with our children, not thinking about work? It's a challenge for all of us, I think. And Mark 6:31, because so many people are coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, Jesus said to them, "Come with me by yourself to a quiet place. Get some rest." The common theme here, isn't it? Rest. Rest doesn't mean we're lazy. Perhaps we should get this out of our minds. Sometimes we think busyness is importance, is status, is everything else. So doing nothing, not doing nothing, but resting must mean that, well, we're not important, or we should be doing something, or, do you know, I think that's a really bad thing for modern life, and they know much better in third world countries, where they do spend time. They're not rushing around all the time. And do you know, you see lots of miracles there, you see God working in prophetic ways, you see God move, and their faith is stronger to believe God for their needs and their healing and whatever else. And it's a lot stronger when you meet these people. We're just so dependent on doing things and making things and making sure that we are okay, that we don't trust God anymore.
It also occurs to me, a scripture we haven't got here, but in the first 10 verses of Genesis, it talks about on the seventh day, he rested. And we need to rest at some point. God needs to rest, and we definitely need to rest too.
Remember, we looked yesterday at Luke 10, 38 to 42, which is the story of Mary and Martha. She did read for us. With Martha rushing around doing good things, preparing food, preparing something for Jesus. Mary appeared to do nothing, but to rest at Jesus' feet. When Martha asked Jesus, why is she doing nothing and I'm doing all this? Tell her to do something. And Jesus made clear, she is doing something. She's sitting by me, she's building a relationship with me. She's building a heart, a spirit, which enables us to do many other things when we have our spirit. The Bible guides us not to rush around, but first to sit, first to rest, first to be at Jesus' feet. I find that for me, I have to have my quiet time in the morning with Jesus. If I don't, I find the day just sort of fritters away. We need to get our focus on Jesus, on the Creator. What does He want us to do? What has He got for us? Our hearts are right, our spirits are right, and we can face the day. Now that might not be possible for you if you've got young children and so on, but find that time of rest in Jesus' presence. And then find that time with family. And make sure you've got time. We never read of Jesus rushing around. I don't remember anything in the New Testament saying that Jesus rushed around. I remember lots in the New Testament where He waited. He waited for 3 days when Lazarus was ill because He wanted to show that there's resurrection. So He waited till Lazarus to die. What did people think? He's not rushing around. He's resting. Where's He resting? He's not. He's probably praying. We don't read exactly what He was doing. But He was later than people thought He would be because He wasn't rushing. He was waiting for the right time, for God's time, to do that amazing miracle. Jesus spends His time with His Father. Often read of times, we read that earlier, of times where Jesus went on His own and had time with His Father. But He also had time with His Father and taught His disciples how to pray. And so we need both. We need time alone with the Father, with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit. But we also need time with our spouse to come together and pray. And as one flesh receive all that God's got for us and to build relationship. And just being still doesn't mean doing nothing. Being still means recreation. Being still means doing something together, enjoying it together. Rest is not just sitting doing nothing. Rest is relaxation. Rest is joy. Have a great time with each other. One thing we love doing, we like going out and we enjoy our food, so we like to go out for a nice meal, and so we able to do the work, or just going out somewhere together. And one of the things we love doing is to think of our perfect day. So our perfect day, we go hour by hour. Now where would we like to wake up? What sunrise would we like? Wait, we know that. Monument Valley. Monument Valley is just amazing. Same thing. So where would we want our breakfast? So where we're going to be slated?
Utah, USA.
Yes.
Where the cowboy films were, those big monuments that stick out in the desert.
One day we were in a hotel just over Monument Valley on a holiday when I just retired. And we were just opposite these monuments. And then the sun came up. We were at 4 or 5 in the morning. We got out there and just watched it. It's just amazing. Anyway, so hour by hour, anyway, going through, enjoying. Where's the best breakfast? Where are we going to do? Where are we going to go for a walk? Where are we going to have lunch? By the way, this is instant transportation. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be reality. So you can instantly, in New Zealand, at Lake Tekapo, and then the next minute you're in Monument Valley. It doesn't matter. So hour by hour. But what a wonderful time.
We're standing on the top of Christ the Redeemer in Rio.
Yes, absolutely. But memories. What we want to do is create memories. We can enjoy the memories together. Enjoy the rest together. We want to do that.
We're going to give you a piece of paper at candlelit dinner where you can, if you want to, you don't have to, create your perfect day together, hour by hour. So how do we make quality time find more time? No, we can't. Can we make more time? Yes, we can. Time is made whenever we decide what matters most. When we say we don't have enough time to do something, what we're saying is we're putting something else ahead of it. So we need to put things in the right priority. Saying a thing is a priority and making it a priority are two different things. The reason most goals aren't achieved is because we spend our time doing the second things first. Perhaps because they're less complicated, they're easier to finish, or we just fancy them first. We need to talk about urgent things and important things. I often think, things, when they shout at me, somebody says, do this, I want to respond, like now. But actually, I should really say, yes, I will do that in a minute, but I need to do this first. One of my unfavourite household jobs is changing beds. And I spent years saying, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. And then the next day, I'll do it later. And so it went on. And then eventually I realised if I actually did it, it's the first job in the day after breakfast. It was done and I could relax. Because it was something that had to be done, but it wasn't urgent, but it was important. So we need to spend our time wisely. Each minute we have will never come again. It's gone and it's gone, which is quite sad in a way. So why don't we spend it in a really good way? Like Mike was saying about missing our children growing up, we did that. One thing we said when our son was just about to leave school, we said, this may be the last family holiday we'll have together. So we'll go on a really lovely holiday together. And we did. It was great. Our son is now 35 and our daughter is now 32. They still come on holiday with us every year. And we now have a rule that only allowed to come on one holiday with us a year. And that was actually something we didn't quite get right, but it's actually great for them to come with us still. So we don't want to set ourselves up to give up on something good just because we don't do it as well as we might think as well. Sometimes we're not that good at doing things. Like some people here are fabulous cooks. Some people here would admit to not being so good. But you can still enjoy a meal together, even if the meal doesn't quite turn out the way you did. I did a meal on Thursday for Vanya and Mark and Latzi and Julie and their 5 children between them. And I did a toad in the hole because it was traditionally British. And I didn't think that if I did a huge one, which I did for 12 people, that it wouldn't cook quite as quickly. So it wasn't as good as I would have liked.
Soggy.
It was a bit soggy. It was still edible.
But Latzi and Julie don't know, they think it's always soggy.
And Mark and Vanya hadn't had it before. The important thing was that we had a good time together and we enjoyed it together regardless. So we just work over those things. Sometimes if we went on a holiday when the children were small to Madeira, we didn't realise that our October half term, which we chose, is their rainy season. And it rained nearly every daylight hour there was. But we learned through that how to make entertainment for ourselves in the apartment we were staying in. Our 3-year-old daughter at the time learned how to play cards and put her 2 of trumps gleefully on her brother's ace and the other card. We have great memories of that holiday. It didn't go quite the way we wanted, but we still enjoyed it. So if things don't go quite right, don't worry. So, we obviously have lots of things which are demanding our time, and we were saying about choosing things. We need to find things that we need to leave undone as well, which for some of us is impossible. I know somebody who can't leave the house until the beds are made and the whole house is hoovered and everything's washed up. I don't know if any of you are something like this, but these, some things, do we need to do those things every time? We need to think of the things that we do or don't need to do. Somebody asked me on my 60th birthday as well, when everything was really busy, gave me this piece of paper about this prayer chain, about praying for Syria. And would I like to take part in this? Well, it was obviously a great cause, but would I have prayed for it regularly? I have many things demanding my time and my prayers, and I said, no, I'm afraid I can't accept this, because I know I won't do it, and it's just not a good idea for me, and I gave it back. She was a bit shocked, but you have to say no. You can't say yes that you will promise to pray for everything there is. There's always going to be things that you can't do. So there are people who can't say no. Lord, may I be directed what to do and what to leave undone. What about our devotional time? That's something that we really must put in the right place. Now, we've changed the lead on this, and it seems to be working better. We're going to try and show a video. This is called The Jar of Life, and it's about 1.5 minutes.
We fit all the other things around it.
So we need to put the most important things in first, plus some of the middle ones, and then everything else will fit in. But we can't put the itty-bitty stuff in first. It will never work. So we need to discover what matters most in the time with our spouse and our children, and prioritise that. Maybe say to yourself each day, this is the one thing I'm definitely going to do with my spouse or for my spouse today, and make sure we do it.
So we need to allow time for the unexpected. Every day, every hour, something unexpected will happen, quite likely. In fact, the wonderful quote from Henry Kissinger,
So briefly.
there cannot be a crisis next week, my schedule is full. Do you feel like that sometimes? You filled your schedule. What happens when something doesn't quite work? It's like planning a talk like this and planning in the timescale we've got. But if we don't allow for the fact that the computer might not quite work, or something else doesn't work, or something overruns, and then you need to allow yourself space. Otherwise you get pressurized. You feel pressure in what you're doing, don't you? Because you've got to fit the good things you planned and prioritised, but now something else is coming in and you haven't got time to do that properly, and it's frustrating. So assume there will be unexpected things. Assume things will affect your agenda, because they will. Every moment of every day. We have scheduled activities for every moment. It won't happen, because something else will happen. Someone will send you a WhatsApp. When you're a probably because Vanny sends WhatsApp all the time. No, someone will send all of them, send an email, and something, you've got to deal with that. It's really urgent. Everyone, as Lynn said before, if someone sends you something, they expect an answer. Right now, or this time. We get this all the time, unfortunately, dealing across Europe. People forget to order things, or well, I'm going to run a course, and it starts in 2 days. Okay, so print the manuals, but the manuals, we've got to ship them out. And we've got to do it now, or they can't do it. It happens all the time, for us, unfortunately. I'm sure similar things happen for you. We've got to think about that. We need to purge our schedule as well. Purge our schedule of the things that are not important. Think about your day. What do you do that actually, really, if you look back, it would be better if you didn't do that and actually chose to quality time for something else? We all need to look at that. We all have things in our schedule. One half of knowing what you want is knowing what you must give up to get what you want. Because you can't put what you want into a full schedule. Your life is probably quite full. Apart from one person here, everybody has a full schedule. Everybody is struggling, apart from Roy, with fitting the things in that they want to do. So if we're already struggling, what about all these unexpected things that come in as well? We need to make ourselves time. Concentrate on how to be more connected with our spouse. Connection is really important. If we're going to be effective, and we all want to be effective for Jesus, don't we? We want to do what God has planned us to do as well as enjoy the time we have here. If we're going to do that, we need to be right with God. We need to be right with each other. We need to teach or teach or speak or do whatever God's planned us to do from a strong-rooted spiritual life, a strong-rooted family life, a strong-rooted marriage. And we all know a tree, the roots of a tree go down as far as the tree goes up. If we don't put our roots down and really build ourselves up in the spirit, and spend time with Jesus, and build our family life, spending time with our children, so they grow up to be wonderful people, or the best we can help them to be. We don't want to look back, if only they'd done that, they wouldn't have gone on. We didn't really teach them, we didn't really tell them. We didn't tell them about what it means to save ourselves until we get married for sexual activity. Because the world says, go and do it. Go and enjoy it all now. If we haven't had time to sit down with them and tell them why, it's the best thing to save yourself until you get married, and then you can enjoy each other more, as God intended. We don't want to go back and say, if only you'd said that, maybe this wouldn't have happened. The world wouldn't have got in there first. One of the greatest things, the most precious things we can give to each other is our presence. So it's not just our time, it's our presence. What does that mean? It means being there for people. It means when you're talking to each other, you listen to each other. It means being there, really being there, not thinking about everything else or thinking about what you want to say when they're sharing their heart. It's about hearing the heart and allowing ourselves to change and allowing ourselves to enjoy and build up each other. Impatience and hurry can deprive us of that. Let's see if we can change that. Now that's difficult. I know it's difficult to say. But hurry and impatience will take away the presence. You're not present with somebody if you're rushing to the next thing. We need to give time to each other. Lewis Carroll once said, it's a poor sort of memory that only goes backwards. What I'd say is we need to create memories. Part of presence, part of being together, as we were sharing about our perfect day, part of that is creating your perfect day. So if you've never seen a sunrise, go and see a sunrise. Enjoy it. Not only are you creating your memory. So your memory's not some of the bad things that happen, you're creating good memories that you can enjoy for the rest of your life. Be intentional about creating memories. It's not just about looking back, it's about creating them so we can enjoy them at the time and later. So there will be a time in life, probably as we get older, that memory is going to be the most important thing in our life, because maybe we can't go and do the things that we used to do, but we still have our memories. Let's have good memories of enjoying each other. Have time with your spouse, be present with your spouse today, tomorrow, this week, and create memories. I'm never going to give you an introduction to think about that. So what can you change to give more quality time to each other? When was the last time you had a date night? Just the two of you. And when did you plan for the next one? When have you planned to create memories? When have you planned to have quality time?
So, what situations can we find where we can find more quality time? One of them is to have meals together. We can enjoy that meal in a leisurely fashion. We can talk. We can cook together possibly if we want to. And we can savour the time together as well as that. And if you want to make it a romantic one with the candles and whatever, then that's fine. We also find if you move from the table, you ruin it somehow. Another thing we can do is to have journeys together. All of us do travel. We all travelled here and we will all travel back again one way or another. Mike and I always make the most of a journey because I believe that a journey with Mike in a car or on another form of transport is a time when we can just talk without any interruption really, because there is no one else there. Obviously, you know, if there's something happens dire on the road or whatever, we concentrate where we're going and all that. But generally, we have got however many hours journey is worth of conversation time. And so we do that. We do devotionals in the car together. At one point when Mike used to be working and was fortunate enough to work from home on a Friday, but still had to be available until 5 o'clock, if we were going to go to visit friends for the weekend, and we would prefer to leave earlier rather than later, we would leave after lunch, and Mike would have his phone with him, his computer and everything else. He would work in the car, and I would drive. So that was one way we could use that time profitably. But now we haven't got that. We still often do 2-1 emails, and we talk about things we're planning for, we work things out, and one of us will send email or text or whatever, while the other person is driving. We're working things through, and we're using that time profitably, where before, we perhaps would have just sat there and listened to music and not done anything else, or just chit-chatted. This way we can use it intentionally, which is good. So, do we think our busyness is temporary? It's not going to be. We need to get over that. 64% of people in a recent survey said they believe they would have less leisure time in the future. And the world, as we know, all these idea of emails and all this techno stuff is actually making us busier rather than giving us more time. All it is packing more into our days. So we need to have that rest and relaxation and restoration now, as well as in the future. Perhaps we can find an activity we like doing together in our time of work. For a typical husband, spending recreation time with his wife is second only to having a love life with her, where women generally connect by talking things over and sharing secrets and cuddles, but men connect by doing things together. Another thing we can do is help the ones pressurised with their tasks. Even if it's not your task, to help you, because the two of you then will get the job done and then you'll have more time to share together. Another thing to think about is your children. Often adults do things for children which children can do. When our son was 7, he was given a month challenge from Sunday school to make his packed lunches for school for a month. For a month. And he wasn't sure he could do it, but we encouraged him. He definitely could. I said I'd have all the things in the fridge and that, and bread and the rest of it. He could make his sandwiches and put his things in his lunchbox and get it ready. Our daughter, then 5, said, well, if he's doing that, maybe she wasn't in the same Sunday school class and didn't have the same challenge. She said, can't I do that too? Of course you can, dear. And so they did it for that month. And the best thing about that is it takes 20 times to do something to make a habit. I never made a packed lunch again. And so we can get, if children are able to do things for themselves, do that. It's not what you do for your children, but what you've taught them to do for themselves that will make them successful human beings. We need to get our priorities of how much we're spending time with our children, what are we doing for them, and all the things we're taking them to. Do we actually, is there a way you can get like a carpool for people to take children places, rather than all going one by one? We all see lots of cars going to the school gate, don't we, with one child in it and one parent. how can we use that head more effectively? It's good for children to learn to do things for themselves too. Sadly, I was not a very compliant child when it came to doing tasks. I am compliant in other ways, but not that way. And I didn't want to help my mum, and I didn't want to learn things. And so she just thought it was easier to do it for me instead. So, as a 16 and 18-year-old at school or at work, I would take clothes off, I would just drop them on the floor in my bedroom, and I would go off to work the next morning, and they would have miraculously disappeared. And 2 or 3 days later, they would be washed and ironed, and not even on my bed, they would be hung up in my wardrobe or up in my drawers again. It was a big shock when I got married, I tell you. We need to teach our children these things because they need to learn these things for themselves. And we need to sleep and relax and have fun together. Yeah, I think it's blank. Yeah, this is yours. That was it. That was that castle to make it blank.
So, sort of getting near the end now, so you can re-engage. And we like this because we like this. Where can you maximise the minutes? Do you know you can make a lot of time through a short period? Now, I'll tell you what I mean, that sounds really confusing. I want to confuse you so that you then think about it. So, how do you maximise the minutes? So, there are times which you probably do with each other every day. Probably fairly mundane, in a sense, fairly mundane. You wake up. Yes, everyone wakes up? Yeah, we all wake up. What do we do when we wake up? The alarm clock. But this is a really important time. This is a time we can re-engage with our spouse. We can have a quick cuddle, kiss, we can enjoy ourselves together. Just for 30 seconds, 1 minute. But to show you care, to show you love them. And they feel so much better because you've had some physical contact maybe. And you've said some nice things, some nice words maybe. It takes a few seconds, less than a minute. But it's a really important time because it gets the day right with each other. Then there's another time. You probably at some point in the day you're apart from each other. You say goodbye. Yeah? You want to say goodbye at some point in the day? When one of you goes out somewhere, probably one of you maybe to work or shopping or whatever it happens to be, say goodbye. Enjoy the goodbye. Again, look into each other's eyes. Be there. Be present for the person for those few seconds. Yeah, we can enjoy that time. We can give each other a big hug and say, "Oh, we're going to miss you." So the next one, then they come back. You're going to say hello. Enjoy the hello. It's another time you can engage for 30 seconds, 1 minute, a bit longer if you want to. But be present for them for that time. Be there. Before you go to sleep, we find this a really good time. Always go to sleep having forgiven each other and in good place with each other. You may want to use that time for other activities to really physically enjoy yourself. Or, if that's not on the agenda for that particular night, a cuddle and a kiss and a good night and pray together is a great way to finish the day. But do something, connect in some way. And also, other routine jobs. We talked about driving together in a car, those sort of things, they can last a long time. But also, during the day, just sitting down having a cup of tea, maybe. When I used to get in from work, after a busy day, they would always have a cup of tea ready for me, and we would sit and we would engage. And then because quality time is my number one love language. For those that know the love languages, most of you hopefully know about them. We haven't got time to discuss them, but quality time for me is the way that I receive love, number one. And Lynn has had to learn that because that wasn't her love language. And so we sat down, and she sat down, and we were present together for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. We could just share about the day and enjoy that time and reconnect. But even doing things together, just going to the dump, These go to the dump together, you can put the things in. Oh, this is a soup mic, right, yeah. Sorry, pictures in the soup mic. Not really a dump, is it?
Just a bit.
But you can go to the soup mic. But yeah, okay, you might go to the soup mic. But you can do these things together. And there's a connection as you do things together. And you know what's really important? We've learned what's really important is a 20-second hug. Have anyone heard at home about the 20-second hug? No. This is new. Apparently, if you have 20 seconds hugging each other, that releases oxytocin, which you probably know is what's released during sexual activity, during breastfeeding, and praying, yes, and praying, particularly praying together as well. That releases this bonding, that oxytocin that bonds you together and helps you to build relationship. And also helps you to feel compassion and forgiveness. But apparently 20 seconds is the time. So practice. Have a go. We've been having a go to see if it works. It seems to work.
It's actually longer than you think.
No.
But you tend to hug generally, I think, when you give somebody a hug, you give them a hug probably for about 5 or 10 seconds. So it's actually a much more intentional hug. When you come away from it, having spent another 10 or 20 seconds, but you feel much better for it. It is actually quite a bonder. It's really good.
You can find it on Google if you go 20-second hug. You find all the things that happen during a 20-second hug. Really good stuff. So marriage isn't just about the big events. We talked about having good quality time and holidays and a day out, and really important to spend a time on a date night and so on. But actually, you can enjoy those moments. We never talked about maybe 5 minutes in your day, but there's 1 minute here, 1 minute there, that you really need to connect, beginning, end, hello, goodbye, etc. Enjoy those minutes and connect, and you'll find things change. We're going to do another quick interactive before we conclude, just in time. That's the question on this. We've just been talking. How could you maximise your life in these mundane moments? Because your life may be different to ours. But there must be times in the day when you come together, come apart, sleep, don't sleep, etc. And how can you connect more? So we're just going to go through some of the key things that we've said. We're going to reiterate them now, just so that you can remember them. And they'll all be up on the screen.
So we need to make the most of the time that we have.
Maximise our time. We need to decide our priorities in life.
One of the top priorities should be to build our relationship. One of our top priorities should be to build our relationship with our spouse and children, and of course with God.
You think it's going to go from here to here, and so we're going to work.
I'm still thinking of the other way.
And we said, to build these relationships, we need to spend quality time with each of them, like between God and each other. In order to make time to do this, we need to look at the things and take our time and reduce the time we spend on less important things. So concentrate on the priorities.
That jar of life that we saw that video of. We need to make the most of the time we have together and create memories that we can enjoy now and later.
And we don't want to put this off. Tomorrow won't be less busy, almost certainly, and this, we need to do it now. And don't let "we'll do it someday" become if only.
We need to agree with each other as well, to put things in place today which will enable us to grow our relationship so we can enjoy more time together.
And we need to ensure that the mundane and unimportant activities don't replace or minimise the time we devote to the important matters, such as spending time with God, our spouse and our family.
And let's avoid letting time be our dictator and instead manage our time effectively and get the best we can from the time that we have, that God has given us.
So finally, we don't want to flap around. Remember the birds flapping around, the ducks you didn't see flapping around underwater? We don't want to be doing that. We want to be soaring with the Holy Spirit leading us and guiding us, and our relationship strong. We want to maximise our time with God, maximise our time with each other, maximise our time with our children and our friends. And do the things that God created us to do. We're going to look at this soaring again. Just imagine yourself, rather than flapping away, a little flap, and you're away. Be like a red kite. Isn't it amazing how God created birds that can do that?